Welcome back to The Curious Yapper. I'm Madison, your host and favorite yapper, and I'll give you a recap from this past week. On Monday, the sun started to come back out. People call it fake spring, so where the sun comes out and then you feel your soul rejuvenate and you're alive, and then the rain comes back, so it's fake. Anyways, the sun was out for some parts of this week, and that made it delightful. On Monday, I went to the park with my friend for a walk, and so got to chat and move our bodies and be outside, and that was wonderful. Then I took a picture when I came back home because when I was sitting on the couch, had the blinds open, I could see the sun coming through, and I felt like kind of a cat sitting and perched in the sun, sunbathing, and I was starting to read another book, so that was fun. I'm currently reading It's Mile High by Liz Tomford. I'm about halfway through with it. It's a romance, a contemporary romance, and funnily enough, it will probably go on the wayside because I got some Libby stuff in the motion. So it was delightful on Monday. Sun is out. The soul is gonna be okay, and got to read some books, so kind of felt like I was in my groove a little bit and able to distance myself from work, so that feels good. The next day, got to work from home, got to be in my PJs and kind of just have that environment that is a little less overstimulating. Then right after work ended, I'm outside taking a walk around the neighborhood park. Got to see some flowers. The daffodils are standing tall. There's some tulips that are starting to peek through. So I got some yellow daffodil, and then it's a dark pink red tulips that are right by them at the park. So that was lovely. Got to listen to some audiobook and walk around the neighborhood, get outside, move my body. Saw some cherry blossoms in the neighborhood, and then some other really pretty pink flowers. I think there's some variety of magnolia flower, I believe, and there's different color schemes. There's one that's really bright hot pink or fuchsia, and then some that have white and pink in them. So I love the flowers, and it was fun to get out and see them. Then that day I had also tried a new crock-pot chicken recipe, and it was not a flop. Hooray! So we got to have chicken rice bowls for dinner, and that was yummy and felt like a good discovery that the recipe was good. The chicken was in the crock pot. I had zesty Italian dressing, some spices, and there was a packet of ranch. So it was really good. However it all zhuzhed together, it was yummy. That was Tuesday. Wednesday was therapy. It was good to talk through some things. I had to have a couple challenging conversations this week, and I needed some tips on how I could have refined what I did, and then also the validation that it was okay what I did. So I know that I've been on the receiving end of challenging feedback in my career, and I didn't appreciate how someone approached delivering that feedback, and I think I am now in someone else's story about how feedback was delivered. So that was for me to sit with and try to move forward. So I am learning. Anyways, I don't need to get into it. I had therapy on it. It's great. The next day was Thursday. I got to work from home again. Delightful to be in PJs. Then each month I go out to lunch with some of my colleagues, and so that happened to be the day that we got to go out to lunch. So that was really fun. Had good conversation at lunch, and it was a good change in the routine and change in the scenery. So fun to talk to them and chat about different stuff. I am not the world's best person with geography. Shocker. In 9th grade, in my geography class, I said some silly stuff and really didn't learn a lot. And if you know, you know. And I'm working on geography, so I say some wild stuff sometimes instead of just asking for clarity. I kind of nod my head and kind of just talk when I should be asking some questions. So I made some silly comments at lunch about the location of different mountains, and we had a big laugh. So anyways, that was lunch. Then after work was the best part. I went to go see the cherry blossoms in full effect, full bloom. I had been tracking them on TikTok to know when I should drive my way down to go see them. It was delightful. It was not a clear sunny day, so it wasn't as busy. It started drizzling a little bit, but I saw those cherry blossoms and it was amazing, and it felt like a scene out of Bridgerton or something, walking down the tunnel of these beautiful trees, full bloom flowers, and it took me a whole year moving here to see them in action, and it was worth it. And as you can tell, I had the best afternoon on Thursday, chased those flowers. I took a book, and my rain jacket pockets are actually big, so my book fit in my pocket. Crazy. So I got to take my book, got to read, found a little spot on a rock, got to read some book, just sit by all the flowers. It was delightful. Then after that, I met Evan at a local park to go do some stairs because he's been into the conditioning for elevation gains so that we can do some more challenging hikes. And so I said, okay, my legs were sore for 3 to 4 days from the first set. And I said, okay, here I go. So I met him at the park and did some sets of stairs as well. And I did an additional set than I had on the weekend. So we're slowly building some strength, but it was a delightful day. Got to see all of the blossoms. So wonderful. Then Friday, the weekend. We love the weekend. Evan planned for us to go to a burger spot that we enjoy, delicious burgers, and then we went and got ice cream off at the waterfront, and so good. They have some cereal flavors for this month. They are amazing. Then we got home. I'm pretty sure we watched some TV of some sort, but I also started reading some more book. So good day all around, pretty good week. Then yesterday, we went and visited a local campus to go see some trails that Evan had found, and that was cool to see. Saw some additional flowers on campus, but it was really fun to see what Evan was exploring, and his gears are turning for who's visiting and where they could go, where we could take them to immerse them into some nature, but maybe not as rigorous as some things we might do. So that was cool to share that with him. Then, I don't remember if I shared, but I met someone at a bingo night a couple weeks ago, and she was obsessed with the book Project Hail Mary. The movie just released this past week, and she said, because we connected somehow talking about books, and she said, oh, do you like sci-fi? And I said, haven't really dabbled into it. And she said, well, you need to do Project Hail Mary. And I said, okay, because she was doing a private screening at the movie theater for the movie release. And she said, if I read the book, that I could go to a pre-movie party hang at her house. And I said, me read a book equals friendship, deal. So I got a free trial of Audible, and I flew through the book, listened to Project Hail Mary. It was good, and I got to go to her pre-movie party. She had themed foods that were space themed, and it was just really fun. Got to meet some really cool people there. What's really cool, and I think the world needs more of, is friends coming to celebrate things outside of just weddings and babies. And she had two friends, one come from Canada and one come from Tennessee, to come have a girls' weekend so they could go see this movie together because they all were very into the book. And I thought that was so special and so cool. So I got to meet some of her lovely friends, and it was just really fun. Got to have conversations with people. A lot of them were not originally from the area, so we got to share our stories of how we landed here and what kind of influenced that decision. And there was a married couple, and they were into hiking and camping, and they talked about doing a Boundary Water in Minnesota hike and excursion where you're having to canoe, and then when you reach land you hike with the canoe. So really cool, and felt a little small world. Then somehow we got on the topic of music, and I shared that I had taught music, and we connected on some of that. We had people that played flute, violin, alto sax, and that was crazy and really cool. Oh, and then someone did musical theater. So just got to share some of those commonalities of music things, and that was really cool as well. It was a good. Also, my friend that I go to the game group with, he said that he had a chocolate lab growing up, and his chocolate lab's name was the same as my dog, Mocha. Blew my mind. Evan told me today that the chances of someone naming a dog like a chocolate lab with like Mocha being the name wasn't that unheard of, but I still thought it was wild. So crazy that we had a chocolate lab and both of our labs' names were Mocha. Mocha was a good old girl. I did not train Mocha well, and I trained her to do things I probably shouldn't have. For example, I wanted her to hug me, so I taught her to come up, and she would put her paws on my chest, and I would hug her. Yeah, that's probably not a great thing to do because it encouraged her to jump on people, but I wanted her to engulf me. So anyways, yeah, Mocha was a good old girl. She loved Snuggles. She ate things she was not supposed to. I'm sure lots of people have dog stories where they ate things they're not supposed to. But I used to bake a lot. I was known for my cookies in high school. And that girl, she would climb onto the dining room table where I was letting cookies cool. She had herself a couple dozen cookies. Yikes. Anyways, yeah, Mocha was a good old girl. So that was Friday. Then we went to, that was not Friday, that was Saturday. Then we went to the movie, and I was expecting just a typical theater. And if you've been around, I went and saw Freakier Friday when that came out. And I was very disappointed with the movie theater situation here because I didn't have a reclining seat and blah, blah, blah. Anyways, this was actually really cute. It was an AMC movie theater, and they had little private rooms since she had booked it. And you walk in and it looks almost like out of Clue when you think of a library where you walk in, you've got a fire. There was a fire, like a faux fireplace, and there was about 3 rows, and instead of just normal movie theater seats, they had, it looked more like furniture, and the first row was like couches. It was actually really cool. So you also know that I got my popcorn, and I told the guy that I wanted a lot of butter, and then I was eating it, and I had maybe had like an inch of my popcorn, and then I realized it didn't taste very buttery. And during all the commercials, I was like, I should go use the restroom because this is a long movie and I don't want to have to get up. So then I was like, okay, let me power walk. Here I go. Then I saw the butter. So I ran to the restroom, then I ran back on my popcorn, and then I put the butter on it. Much better. I don't know how I missed that the first time. I went out the other side, didn't see the butter. We amended it though, everybody. Movie was delightful, made me cry like 2 to 3 times of like ugly cry. It's about, he's not even an astronaut. there's a guy named Grace, and he's trying to save his planet, and he meets somebody else also trying to save their planet. And the relationship that develops is very heartwarming and just delightful. So I would recommend seeing it, but I just watched a podcast and they kind of roasted it, so I was disappointed. But this is the first time I read a book and then also saw the movie, and I know a lot of times people read the book and they say, that wasn't exactly how it went in the story and they didn't do it justice. There were a lot of details left out. Naturally, when the audiobook was like 16 or so hours, it's a 2.5 hour movie, so you can only do so much. So there was some context and some detail to me that was missing just because I read the book. But I know from people who didn't read the book that it would still be a really enjoyable experience. Just some of the stuff might not make as much sense because there was context behind why there were flashbacks. And anyways, I did really enjoy it though. I recommend. I know not everybody does, but I thought it was good. And when I got home, Evan and I went on another little walk together because I said I needed to be outside because it was a beautiful day. Then came back home, ate some leftovers, chilled, and I fell asleep on the couch and then went to bed. Today, I actually remembered to check into my flight. Yay! I'm really bad at that. Evan usually has to remind me. And I got up and I checked into my flight at 5:40 this morning. And then Evan woke up about 6 and he said, did you check into your flight? And I said, I did. So I checked into my flight, then slept some more, woke up and decided that we should go be outside because it was another lovely day. It got colder. It was 30 degrees this morning. And we went on a hike on a trail that Evan wants to keep doing little chunks of. So we did a spot that we haven't done on it before. And for some reason in my head, every time we go on a hike, I severely underestimate the elevation. And I just think, la, 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 I'm going to stroll through the forest. No, the forest and the geography here is cool because it is not just flat. So when you go hike in the forest, it is not flat and kicks my butt. And Evan, oh man. So he's doing great and I am huffing and a puffing. He says, where does it burn? I said, I'm just concerned about my lungs. The body, she's secondary, but like the breathing part is what goes for me. And I'm just like, so anyways, it ended up being great. It was a good hike. So many trees, so beautiful. And on the hike, I told him, I said, we used to have to vacation to be able to do these things. And now we just get to do it on a weekend. Absolutely delightful. So we did that. Evan was chasing some distance and there was like a half a mile more distance he wanted to do, but I saw a nice trailhead that had a spot to sit and I said, I'll see you later. So I got to start a new book and wait for him to come back. Finished the hike, got home, had burritos, did some laundry. I packed because I'm on a work trip starting tomorrow across the whole country. And then I ran to Trader Joe's so I could get some protein bars for my travels. Then I came home, finished my diamond dot. Check it out, check it out. She's done. And sister, I did frame it. Check her out. Finished my diamond dot. We watched a podcast. Trader Joe's recommendation, you need to get the cookie dough ice cream bites. In the freezer section, delicious. Yum. You should totally get that. Tangent about books was I had finally made it back to physical books because all of my Libby holds were, none had released to me. Well, I decided, ooh, I'd like to read some leadership audiobooks. So I checked out 2 audiobooks about 2 weeks ago. I only have a week left on them and I just started to listen to them. So those might expire. Then I was on TikTok and saw that Abby Jimenez is coming out. Her new book releases this week. And they said that if you haven't read all of her series, you should go back and read Friend Zone, because she puts references from all her books, and that was maybe one of the first series she did. So naturally I went on Libby and I said, Friend Zone, let me check this out. So I checked it out, and then a couple hours later, the new Alice Feeney, My Husband's Wife, finally became ready for me. So I said, check it out. So now the dopamine will hit as I try to race to finish all these books. So naturally the one that I own will go to the wayside. I am taking this book with me on the plane just in case technology decides to fail me, because the last time I did do this trip across the country, for some reason during my 6-hour flight, my digital books decided not to load. So yay, we've got an analog book if needed. But that was, I can't believe I saw the blossoms this week, you guys. It was delightful. Love, love, love. So wonderful. I hope that you all have a wonderful week. Know that if there's challenges that arise, you can get through them. It might not be eloquent. And you might make mistakes. And that's part of doing the life thing. I hope you do find outlets of fun, whether it's diamond dotting, whether it's getting outside, reading, whatever it is for you. I hope you find those things that fill up your cup. And thanks for the app sessions. Hope you have a great week. Bye.